Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Akshara, and today's topic of discussion is why I don't regret using Wattpad. I was an active user of Wattpad from 2019, but now today, since last year, I have not been very active on that app. The reason being, I have grown up. One of the most fundamental reasons why I joined that app, it was because my introduction and knowledge about English novels or fiction was only what I was taught in school. So it was more of the classic books, the classic stories, the classic writers. I was only aware about those things. But when I started thinking about writing about contemporary times, so I wanted to explore, learn, see how the current time story writers are writing it. So I wanted to learn more, see how the story narratives are being built, how people are constructing stories, how stories are being shared, and also to just know why that app is so famous amongst especially women population. It was fairly very popular, very loved. Even today it is fairly most of the users are girls. I think even the writers are mostly females. But in recent time, what I've seen is that a lot of YouTubers or across a lot of digital platforms, people are constantly targeting Wattpad for not being so good and producing mediocre work. See, guys, we all have grown up, and of course, I also, as a reader, as a writer, have grown up, have developed. But why I don't regret, and I won't blame, and I won't, you know, sort of just say that Wattpad is mediocre, is because, for example, you want to create something great and grand one day. That is okay. We all want to progress and produce the best work. But to reach out there, to reach that final step, we need to take smaller steps. And what I feel is that Wattpad is, for beginners, a very good platform. It used to be, at least. So even when I wanted to publish stories, the publishing part is also very easy to do. you know Interacting with your audiences, creating a community was very easy up there. And just reading n number of books you want to read, there was so much of variety. You had so much of genres that you could explore on that app. So I felt it was fairly very good, very amazing, a good networking. I made even a good amount of friends, whether it was with international writers or national regional writers. I was enjoying a plethora of writings. So for me, why I don't regret it because it gave me a knowledge about today's youth. Because like I said, I only grew up reading mostly classic books. I did not know what was the mindset of the current time, how to deliver a line which doesn't look out of date. If I want to create a character of today's timeline, if I want to tell a story about today's youth, then how do I say that? How does something doesn't looks too bold or too just casual? How to bring up dialogues which are more real, which are more good sounding, you know so for that, I think I was exploring Wattpad, and that gave me a lot of understanding about today's writing pattern, about how people are writing, how people want to read books. Even it gives you an insight into that. So that's why I don't regret Wattpad ultimately. It's how you use it. But today I have to say also the monetization part has gotten a lot of uh, backlash from people. Because see, with monetization, everybody wants, when you once you start writing, everybody wants that if you are indulging in your hobby or in your passion, and if you could also get paid for that purpose, it's like it's cherry on the cake, it's perfect combination. Everybody would like to get paid for their hard work. So I agree to that fact that a lot of writers have converted their work into monetize work, and I think it's good. but for people who can't afford it, it's getting expensive day by day. It's becoming very unaffordable, I think. So that is also a reason maybe people are distancing themselves from that app. Also, I remember from the time period of, I think, 2022 2021, I saw a lot of plagiarism happening from Wattpad. So a lot of writers started, requesting us followers to not, follow so and so channels or pages, stories, because they are all plagiarized from some other writer. And that is also very hurtful when you write something with so much of hard work, and then the app doesn't even guarantees you safety, that your work will be, your intellectual property will be safeguarded. So I think that is one of the reasons probably I started having a little back thought about Wattpad. But otherwise, from the creative point of view, I think it gave me a lot of learning, growth, and understanding. I think a lot of idea of how to construct a dialogue, writing, and especially romance, because I consumed a lot of romance, a lot of love stories. So I started seeing that how to build a world of that. I got a lot of insight and idea from Wattpad. So I am never going to say that it's entirely a waste of time or it was entirely a wastage. I don't say that. I don't agree to that. A lot of people gained a lot of popularity, a lot of name. You understood a lot of things from Wattpad. So I do not regret it. I think one can always learn, and then you start exploring other forms of book. A lot of time I also hear a lot of criticism about fiction. People think that people have this idea in this world that non-fiction is greater than fiction, or non-fiction will produce greater results as compared to fiction, which in some point is good. Some degree I agree. Like, a question that is famously asked, that what makes billionaires billionaire, or how most of the people have become billionaires. The answer is that, like, they read 50 to 100 some books per year. So, and all those books are usually about, usually involving subject of non-fiction. So I agree to that. But when you are taking a step into the world of story, and if you want to develop a habit of reading, I think you can start with something as simple as Wattpad. Just a simple storybook, a simple love story that makes you feel connected. Because, our generation has a habit of scrolling too much reels. We all are guilty of that, all of us. Scrolling through reels is much easier than, consuming reading content. So, reading has become really a tough task for all of us. Even during exam times, we are hardly reading. Most of us Google a video and watch it, or we want precise, concise content which is easy to understand. We don't want to read. Our generation is going far away from reading. So the habit of reading can come only when we maybe pick up simpler subjects, maybe a love story, maybe a school friendship story, smaller things. If we start from there, then we can go to tougher subjects like finance, or other things, psychology, go into all those deeper subjects. I'm not saying that non-fiction is not important, but what I'm saying is that you can start simple, and with time period, when you develop that habit, when you have finally fallen for that habit, you have that strong hold on the skill of reading, then of course you will be able to consume harder content. you know like in journalism we used to say soft content and hard content. So serious beats, you can go for criminal reports, investigations, all those will be easier to consume and even understand. When you're not in the mindset to decipher something, how do you expect greater results and productivity? So I think for that very reason, the people who blatantly like ignore the idea of anything that, oh, what will Wattpad teach you? It's just silly teenage content. I disagree completely with that, because yes, most of the writers are writing anything, of creating any fantasy world. I agree to that. They're writing illogical content, but yet you can learn from their mistakes. You can learn from a lot from non-fiction, fiction as well. Reason being, for example, when I read a love story, people say, what do you consume? Because it's just a story that's talking majorly about a relationship, human dynamics. That's it. It's a dialogue between two lovers. That's it. There's nothing more productive or anything that is, teaching you something new, some groundbreaking idea. I was even, I think, teased a lot in college. Sometimes when they used to find out that, oh, she's into reading romance, so she won't be able to consume some meaningful, higher intellectual concept. That really, baffles me to the day. Because I think romance is just a start. It was to, connect to the world. For example, when you're reading about, let's say, a businessman who has fallen for a florist, okay, or you're reading about two doctors in love, so you just don't consume the content about love and human relationship and human dynamics and how things are happening. It's not just all feelings. Writers are also describing the room setting, a lot about the environment, a lot about, their profession. So you get to see a lot of insight from their occupations as well. Maybe, as in general, if I research about a doctor or a occupation of a, businessman, I might get insight. I can consume content in other forms. I can go and watch an interview, I can Google, I can chat GPT. But through the world of, storytelling, it's much easier to connect to them on a human level. You see them not just as their occupation, just not like data and fact that, oh, a doctor has so and so schedule, or a businessman has such and such, daily to daily task and routine, and they must abide by these rules or go through these procedures to be successful, or, you know take such and such route to be where they are. But through storytelling, what happens, that you can also see their struggles, their downside, their upside, the reality of it all, in its totality, in its world, how they are being human, how they are dealing with their occupation as well as their personal lives, and the relationships they have, what are their attitudes in general. I know characters are different, everybody is different, but at least you get some insight into someone's world, someone's occupation, someone's life. You learn a lot of lingo, lot of new terms, lot of uh, vocabulary related to their occupation, and you understand that uh, more it's more to an occupation than just their specified job roles, right? If somebody is a data analyst, it's not that they're only dealing with data, but if the story writer is good enough and they have created some nuanced layers, then you get to see, okay, what all are the problems in today's current time, to collect that data, how they deal with that data. Again, I'm saying you can get this idea on internet from other places as well, but I love it when it's served not to you right in your face, but like in a subtle way, in some way, in some dialogue with the superior and the the junior and the senior talking, and they're exchanging their issues. Something is so real about that, that when two colleagues in the story are sharing the new market trend, what is the problem, or what is the ease of a job, what are the perks, the benefits, or the non benefits, what are the disadvantages. So when you see it through the eyes of a protagonist, you are better going to understand it. So that's why I feel that fiction has a lot to teach you. Then it meets the eyes. For people, it's mostly like even when I was talking to one of the people very close to me. I remember they caught me watching a Chinese drama, and the comment that came was, okay, what do you learn from them? It's only, tidbits of romance, and that's it. They're dressed up beautifully and they're kissing all the day. And I was laughing so hilariously that it's not just that, because you get an insight into the culture of China as well, right? Their food habits, their mannerisms, why they act the way they act, how do they pronounce a certain gender, how do they feel towards a certain uh, societal concept, what is their idea and attitude. You get to learn a lot from these things. So that is why I think in general that people who started criticizing Wattpad did not look at the broader concept of it. It's a good platform to learn and understand, again, like I said, simpler concepts. Then of course we all have grown up. Once you grow up, you can choose better platforms, you can choose better places to learn from, even write higher form of English. I remember just being so attracted, and a similar sort of story writing pattern got reflected even in my own writing. But later on, by exploring more and more world of writing, I developed more onto it. So thank you so much for listening to my all this jabbering. Thank you. See you next time. Bye bye.